A Tale of Tvanna, Miki's Dream, by the Chronicler. There is a land hidden by time and protected by magic. In this land is a small village of little people called the Omi. Like humans, they walk on two legs, live in family groups, and uphold various traditions. Unlike humans, however, they are only around 5 inches tall, are covered in a soft layer of fur, and they can use their large ears to glide or fly short distances. Even so, they rarely leave their village of colorful round homes, ovate buildings, and rich gardens. There is no need to. Magic sustains them, keeps their lands fertile, and their water clean. Even their night doesn't know darkness. Gentle little globes of energy drift lazily within and around the village, each providing a mild white glow. In the Omi village, the second week of every new season, the Omi hold a coming-of-age ceremony for all the children who will be born in that season, those children who will be passing from childhood to adulthood. It is known as the ceremony of dreams. To pass into adulthood, the Omi children must discover what it is that fills them with wonder and determine to follow it. For instance, if a child finds wonder in art, he or she may become a painter or perhaps a sculptor or interior designer. By following their dreams, they fuel the energy that keeps their village alive. When the Omi are born, like all babies, they have no clothes. So, their mamas and papas spin white thread into a simple white shirt, all the while singing their hopes and dreams over their coming child. When the baby is born, the child will wear this from that time on. The shirt, filled with their parents' wishes, will grow with the child. It will change colors to suit the child's personality, become a sweater during cold seasons, and be light and breezy when it's hot. But the change that occurs during the ceremony of dreams is permanent, revealing a symbol to represent the child's passion. Some children find discovering their passion to be more difficult than others, however, and one year, a very special child was born. His name was Miki. When it came time to prepare for Miki's ceremony, all the children in his group wore different colors, excitement in their eyes, and eager expressions. All, that is, except for Miki. He stood out, with his plain white sweater and calm demeanor. The elders, who were addressing the group with plans for next week's ceremony, stopped in front of him and stared. "Child," they asked, "how is it that you still do not have any color on your shirt?" "I suppose it is because I haven't decided which one I like the most," said Miki. The elders exchanged worried glances, then returned to the boy. "But you do know what it is that fills you with wonder?" they hoped. "No," replied Miki. Again, the elders appeared concerned and muttered among themselves. "Your ceremony is next week," they informed him. "We suggest that you put more effort into this. Go around to the teachers and businessmen of our village, see what they have learned, and one of them will surely fill you with wonder." Miki's older sister Suki was standing nearby. Her red sweater showcased a white mistletoe, proclaiming her a very loving and protective individual. When the elders dismissed the children, she took Miki's hand and would lead him around the village. All that week, they went from one craft to the next. First, the candle maker showed Miki how his candles were made. "Look," he exclaimed with great joy, "I can make not only different sizes and colors, but even scents, to light up a room and enchant it with the perfect aroma. Isn't this grand?" "Certainly," said Miki, eyes shining with each flicker of the flames. He gazed at the room for a long time. "But," he decided, "I don't think this completely fills me with wonder." The jovial candle maker nodded sadly but with understanding and suggested they visit his friend the carpenter. The carpenter was a very focused man. He showed them the furniture, tables, and drawers he'd crafted. Presently, he was designing an intricate pattern along the edge of a dresser. Carpentry is not just cutting wood and nailing pieces together. Every carpenter has their own flair and style, and must consider not only what people need, but what they would want, to make things both practical and beautiful. If you have strength, understanding, and enjoy crafting with wood, then you will make a fine carpenter. "Your work is very beautiful," said Miki, "but I don't think this fills me with wonder either." So the carpenter suggested they visit Artwork Way. There they met painters at canvases, tailors at clothes, a woman chiseling stone figurines, and a performance group where stringed instruments and a hand drum played for a pair of dancers. Although they were all beautiful, Miki did not feel they suited him. So they tried Science Road, where they followed a group of botanists into the field where they liked to study the plants. They also sat at the desk with a mathematician who, after assisting a chemist in adjusting the ingredients for his hopeful tonic for gray fur, decided to record the distances between various buildings and certain nearby landmarks for the fun of it. Miki found them and their studies to be intriguing, but they did not fill him with wonder. Suki took him to a diner to see if he liked cooking or maybe serving or simply eating, but although it was fun, he didn't have a very good affinity for cooking, and once again, nothing seemed to suit him. Playing different sports with the other children was delightful, but it didn't fill him with wonder. Gardening and farming, although strenuous, felt rewarding, but even that just wasn't what he was looking for. When the day before the ceremony came, and the elders walked among the children again, they stopped in front of Miki. "We noticed your shirt hasn't changed. Did you go around the village? Did you at least find what fills you with wonder?" Miki shook his head. "No," he replied. "My sister took me to every place we could go in the village, but I haven't found what suits me." "You're just being stubborn," they said. They did not intend to sound mean, but they were worried about him. They could not understand why this child was so different, and they could not blame themselves, having given him all their knowledge and advice, so it must be the child's fault, they figured, and they detested him for being so stubborn and not allowing anything to fill him with wonder. They scoffed and turned away from him. "Who knows?" they said. "Maybe a miracle will happen and he'll figure it out by morning." On their way home, Suki noted how downcast Miki appeared. Even the other children had poked fun at him in his plain white sweater. So Suki made a suggestion. "Maybe staying here has made our heads stuffy. Let's go outside the village boundaries to the hills. Winter air is nice and clear. It might help." Miki nodded, and hand in hand, they left the village. Night fell as they walked, so that when they reached the hills, it was entirely dark. Miki had never seen such darkness because of the ever-present lights that floated about the village. The overhead clouds covered even the moon, and he gripped his sister's hand just a bit tighter. But once they reached the top of a decent-sized hill, the clouds parted. Wind ruffled the fur at his cheeks, and moonlight shimmered over the cold grass around them, revealing a forest in the distance. Suki tapped him on the shoulder. "Look up." Following her gesture, he lifted his eyes, and immediately his breath was caught. Never had he seen such a sight. The pitch-black sky was filled with what looked to him like many twinkling rivers or an endless ocean of distant lights. Some were bright, others small, but together they formed a visible concept of the most glorious song not yet written. It left him with no words, and all he could do was stare. This was a magic beyond the common kind of the village. How could something so incredible even exist? "Those are stars," Suki told him. "I came out here once when I was very little and I saw them. You can't see them like this in the village because of the lights." "Is there anything more amazing than this?" he breathed. His sister smiled. "I guess you found it then. What fills you with wonder?" Miki realized it only when she said it, and when he realized it, he gave her a big hug. I did find it! Thank you, Suki!" After watching the stars for a long time, they headed back to the village. Miki spoke about the stars the whole way back, and even while climbing into bed, he said, "I wish I could touch them or fly so high that I could be right in the middle of them." Suki laughed and snuffed out their bedroom candle. "I'm sure you will reach the stars one day," she said, and she meant it. The next day arrived with great joy. Miki jumped out of bed even before his sister. Grabbing his scarf and hat, he rushed to the breakfast table and told their mama and papa all about the stars he saw. They were glad to see their son with so much excitement. The ceremony hall was in the House of Elders. It was built around their most sacred well that reached to the rich underground river that was positioned in the exact center of their village. All the children scheduled to pass into adulthood were to stand before it. They would face the well, sing a chant, take a sip, and then voice their dreams to the congregation. The magic, drawn to their wonder, would play with their threads and reveal the symbols of their hearts. The elders, concerned over Miki's still white sweater, told him to go last, but nothing they said or did could make him feel bad. He figured he had the best dream in all the world. When it came his turn, and he'd taken a sip from the ladle, he turned to the other Omi and said as loud and clear and certain as his smallish form could muster, "My dream is to reach the stars." A hush fell over everyone in the ceremony hall, especially the elders. Miki stood there grinning and proud and waiting for their fascinated remarks, but after a moment, he looked around to realize the look on the elders' faces was one of disgust. "What good is that?" they whispered among themselves, and the congregation joined in. Was he serious? He must have been. He did the ceremony. No one can reach the stars. Surely he knows this. He'll live an unfulfilled life. This is sad. Why didn't anyone stop him? And on and on. The whispers spread so that for the first time, Miki began to feel unsure about his dream. Had it really been such a bad wish to make? But Suki stood up. "Go for it, Miki," said Suki. Just then, someone at the back of the hall said, "Look! Something weird is happening outside!" Everyone hurried to look. Miki rushed outside as fast as he could, then stopped and stared up at the sky. Something was gently falling toward him. It glistened like music and was joined by another, then another, and still more. They were tiny cold drops of white. He peered at them quizzically as they alighted on his fur and clothes. Then, all at once, he realized it. His eyes widened in excitement. "Stars!" he said. "There's stars! Little white stars are falling from the sky!" And he laughed and danced and twirled about in them as more and more fell. Before that day, he had never seen such a thing. It had never snowed there. But ever since then, every cold season, the sky gives them little white stars to celebrate its beloved child's wish. And as he danced and laughed, a beautiful snowflake had appeared on his sweater, created from a shimmering crystal thread that would change colors depending on how you looked at it.